Charles Manson was released from prison. And what he'd learnt in prison was he'd learnt manipulative techniques.
So for some reason, they focused in on her and they brutally murder her while she's pregnant. And it's completely... Well,
The reason that the family did that was because Manson says, go out and do something witchy. Commit a murder that's so brutal that it becomes unignorable. He got all these ideas from prison. What would happen is that because of the Black Panthers were on the rise and everything else in 1960s America, that black people would take over the world because he believed that black people were innately inferior to him because he was a white supremacist. He believed that then he would come out and he would rule over them as a kind of king, an overlord.
okay, guys, I've got a great little thing here.
I thought you were just about to say I've got to go.
Are you off then, Sal?
cheers.
See ya.
Great, see you tomorrow.
It's been nice, but it's actually getting hot now.
It's getting hot.
I need a bit of a fan. Right, okay, look. Sell me the cover. So no expense spent on this. This is our league table now. We're supposed to do this from day one, but we didn't get around to it. So look, we're going to go through who is ahead and which covers we've chosen.
Well, I think we
so
know
far.
that, don't we? So
Well,
you're
we
just
know
going
who's
ahead
ahead.
just to embarrass me, aren't you?
Okay, but look, so the very first one was Gary Oldman. That was Ben.
Yeah.
So you went 1-0 up.
Scored too early.
Oldman. The next one, the one was Charlie Sheen. Now, who said Charlie
Me.
Sheen? Bill. And then it gets a bit tricky after this. So
No, it doesn't.
It was,
I'm going to basically...
it was either Joe Marler or Danny Dyer that won.
Joe Marler.
It was.
Did I give it to Joe Marler?
Yeah, Danny
And I'll
Dyer.
tell you exactly what's happening
Is
now.
that you?
Yeah, I know exactly what's happening now.
What?
He's backtracking.
No, he's
You've
not.
had a word with him. He's been on his hot
Well,
tub.
obviously, I was
There-
texting him
the
last
video
night
evidence
trying to
of you-
fix the result.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, the next one was Pep Guardiola. That's Bill again.
No, I didn't get Pep.
Didn't you not?
No, I don't think I
So who
did.
did we choose instead of Pep?
You're probably feeling sorry for him. I can't remember.
Scott Galloway.
No, not George
No.
Galloway.
Fucking Scott Galloway.
Oh, that's a question mark then, because
is.
we don't know
I'm
that.
sure he didn't get Pep.
I went through the transcript. Okay, next.
By the way, just to let everybody know, yeah, the fact that we can't remember anything, right? Yeah.
It's your age.
At all.
Your age.
Right.
That's what I mean.
Because we did actually do this. I mean, you can.
I'll tell you when it was. It was
Look,
different times.
these episodes are evergreen. Just go back and watch them, and maybe if you could message us and let us know which one of us won.
Yeah,
And it was different times.
it really was.
Different times.
Thank you. Christ.
Look, okay, going on then. Next one was Bob Mortimer.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was you, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was.
That's another one for Bill.
Yeah.
Bobland. Good cover line, that.
Thanks. Oh, was it you?
That was me.
Oh, right, okay.
Then it was Daniel Dubois.
Yeah.
That was you.
That was you.
God blimey.
I know. This is what I'm talking about.
We're
You
running
kept
out of
saying the wrong
space.
thing.
You keep saying that I'm his favourite.
Ben,
But he's
not-
overcompensating,
he's not-
isn't he?
he's
He's
not-
definitely
He's not that easily
overcompensating
duped.
to
Generally
prove I'm
speaking.
not his favourite.
So basically,
Despite the fact that I am his favourite.
Ben, the thing is, every single time we do this, right, you basically say yours and then spend the rest of the time saying how great Bill's is.
This is why I keep saying
Do
you
you
go
know?
first.
Do you know what? But look, I am big enough in my heart and head to actually admit when someone's done something good. Yesterday or whatever it was, whenever we're talking about something or other, and I had a brilliant choice for something or other, and you perpetually undermined me, didn't you? Deliberately.
You know what? Yesterday was the hottest day of the year, or ever probably in England. I was dehydrated and confused.
You
by that
still made
stage.
the right choice.
Right. So the choice yesterday was Grace Jones. So the score at the moment is 6-1.
Yes, this is what I'm
I
talking
do
about.
remember him getting another one.
6-1. I mean,
I think it was the Pep one.
Oh, so you've got another one, but you need to find it where it is.
Yeah, that's done.
Because if we didn't put Pep Guardiola in, it was who you said.
I remember
it
being
was.
shocked. That was when the outrage started, I think.
Well, because that would have put him 2-1 up.
No, because Pep was an obvious choice, and you went with Scott Galloway, whatever it was. George Galloway.
George Galloway.
well,
Yeah.
it wasn't. You never went with Scott Galloway. It would have been brilliant because he probably might
6-1 at the
end up being the
Can't
next
put him on,
president of the
no one
United
knows who he
States.
is.
All right.
United, we couldn't.
Okay. It's a chance to get one back. Sell me the cover. Is if we were putting our cover out now.
Well, I'm going to say the same thing I said.
Yesterday,
Inde Navarrette.
Indiana.
Inde
True.
Navarrette.
Indianapolis 500.
In this young actor,
Yes.
actress, if you prefer,
Well done.
yeah, right. And I think she's incredible, and I think she's brilliant.
How does she
and
identify?
How does she identify?
Isn't that what they say?
Is she an actor or an actress?
She's female.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't try and drag me down this particular road. I've read the restrictions on what you can say and can't say in this studio.
The mind plays tricks.
And
that's what I'm saying.
you're on a very thin ice.
I am. Yeah. Okay, so you're going to go for the same person again.
Yes.
Okay,
I had all this last time. He still didn't win, and I'm going to win. Just give me the point.
What? You haven't said anything
Gangsta
yet.
Hamster.
Gangsta Hamster.
On the cover.
What's the name? What's the name of this woman?
Inde.
How do you spell that?
Inde Navarrette.
Okay.
That's her surname.
There's a reason why I'm doing this, because, well, actually, we did have a woman yesterday, Grace Jones, but I am going to give it to Inde Navarrette.
Not Gangsta,
Yes!
Not Gangsta Hamster.
Gangsta Hamster
After all that
yesterday.
stuff about sweep.
Gangsta Hamster yesterday was a very naughty boy.
He rehabilitated himself.
He did not. Well, let's be
been
the
very
judge of that.
quiet
Give him 6 months and see where he is. Probably be redirecting traffic out there with his pants around his ankles and clutching a bottle of gin.
Doing that.
He doesn't actually. I mean, we should maybe buy him a pair of trousers because he's a little bit.
I think we get him a little waistcoat and something like that. Yeah. Okay. Final look at the issue. You can choose another article which you like and you want to talk about.
Well, I was going to go for the Ronson thing, but
Yeah. Do that.
Can I do that?
Yeah. Charles Manson.
Is that okay? So, all right. So, Jon Ronson has become probably one of Britain's most known journalists. He started out in print media. He moved on to radio, and now he's done a series of television documentaries. The interesting thing about the article that he wrote is that it's not actually about Charles Manson. It's about people who are obsessed with Charles Manson. So he goes to America and he interviews a series of people, most alarmingly, actually, young women.
Can we just give the younger viewers Charles Manson?
Okay, so Charles Manson in the 1960s, at the height of the kind of the hippie era, Charles Manson was released from prison, and he went to San Francisco, and he went to Haight-Ashbury, right, which was the kind of place where all the hippies used to congregate, right? And what he'd learnt in prison was he'd learnt kind of manipulative techniques, and he particularly was interested in the book by Carnegie, Bill, you'll remember it, How to Influence People.
Win friends and influence people.
Yeah, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That was a particular thing, which was, it's kind of a way of sort of, it was a salesman's book, basically, but he read a lot of this stuff in prison. So, and he'd been in and out of prison all his life, by the way, Manson, since he'd been about 11 or 12 years old. So he goes to San Francisco, and he wants to be a pimp, but he actually realises that he doesn't actually need to be a pimp in the traditional sense. He can sort of set himself up as a guru. So he accumulates around him these young runaway girls, some very young, some 15, 16.
Girl as well, didn't he?
Oh yeah, and he failed an audition for the Monkees. He also did something which is just, I still find to be, along with his many crimes, because what he did was he became obsessed with Dennis Wilson from the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Became absolutely obsessed with Dennis Wilson. He became obsessed with Dennis Wilson's producer. Dennis Wilson did actually go and listen to Manson play music and everything else. He went to where they were hiding out. They were in this ranch in Los Angeles, and he had what we call the family, which is essentially a group of young teenage girls and some men, a few men, but mostly teenage girls.
Which Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the film.
Yeah, which Once Upon a Time in Hollywood shows.
Which is brilliant. Brad Pitt is a brilliant film.
Yeah, brilliant film.
Great film.
So he goes out and Dennis Wilson eventually decides that he's just simply not good enough. Although the Beach Boys did record one of Manson's songs and put it under their own name.
I thought he lived with one of the Beach Boys for a little bit.
He did. No, they lived in Dennis Wilson's house. Dennis Wilson initially got Manson to come and live with him because Dennis Wilson couldn't believe all the pretty girls that Manson seemed to attract. Manson's a really odd figure as well. He's a tiny little guy. He was much older than these hippie girls. He was 33 years old, 32 actually when a lot of the crimes happened, 33 when he went to trial. So
I don't think he had a swastika in the middle of his forehead. Did he?
He was a white supremacist. He had this bizarre idea that what would happen is that he got all these ideas from prison. What would happen is that because of the Black Panthers were on the rise and everything else in 1960s America, that black people would take over the world, but because he believed that black people were innately inferior to him, because he was a white supremacist, he believed that then he would come out and he would rule over them as a kind of king, an overlord.
Bit like Nigel Farage.
Apart from the beach, with no musical talent for ours.
What Ronson's interested in why someone so clearly ridiculous, clearly appalling, clearly vile could still hold such a fascination.
Let's broaden it out, Ben, because it's the same with Hitler. Hitler and the Nazis, everyone now Hitler, after he came to power, he managed his backstory, and Goebbels worked on. He had all these pictures taken. He's a brilliant orator. He was a weirdo.
Yeah.
People knew he was a weirdo before he got there.
I think if Keir Starmer had Charles Manson's spin doctor, he'd still be in charge.
Anyway, what the piece encapsulates is a lot of what Ronson later made his name on, what John made his name on. It encapsulates conspiracy theories, his fascination with the far right.
He was a bit like Louis III before Louis III, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And,
and they're very good friends now. And by the way, they do an excellent podcast. John and Louis do a very similar, and very similar guys, similar interview techniques. Beauty of both of their interview techniques is it's utterly non-judgmental.
Yeah.
If I'd been confronted, and I'll be honest about this, if I'd been confronted with any of the people pretty much that John was confronted with, I just would have had a go at them. I would have found them so nauseating, I would have had a go at them.
But their personalities lead them to be able to do that. But it's a give them enough rope school of journalism, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah.
You keep on going, mate. You carry on. And you don't show any reaction in your faces. Give them all the time and space.
The biggest weapon a journalist has got in that situation is
silence.
Silence.
Yeah,
I could never help myself.
I
don't suppose that bit there.
Some of those bankers that they were meeting, there, some of the white supremacists and the Andrew Tates and all that. It must be so hard to do that. But Ronson, I used to have a show in Manchester on the local radio. It's a pirate station that became a commercial called KFM. That was a great station. I had a show on there for 4 weeks, which I turned up and said, I want to do a radio show. They said, what experience have you got? I said, none. When can you start? And they showed me how to splice it. It's literally a tape with a razor. That's how old it was. So 4 weeks, and then he got bought by another company, and Craig Cash was on there. Before he did, the Royal Family and all. What a fantastic DJ that guy. And Ronson was also brilliant. It was compulsive listening. And so for me, I think he's a good writer, John, and I think he's top drawer, he's a good writer, but on radio, it's his voice as well.
His voice
is got a soporific voice.
He's very, very gentle, and I think that also massively helps. By the way, if you're gonna interview people like that, it helps to sound gentle.
They underestimate him,
and
their peril.
Is this the sort of thing that people, when they think of Loaded, would have thought would have been in Loaded?
The people who
no, I don't think so at all. No. I mean, it's extremely thoughtful. It's also an unusual thing for Loaded. I mean, Loaded. There is one of the things I think which characterise Loaded is a kind of enduring sort of optimism throughout the pieces, right? Yeah. And that's one of those strange pieces that is unusual for Loaded because it is definitely not optimistic. But then often in each issue, like I think we ran a big piece about O.J. Simpson, right? That is not an optimistic piece. So I think often we forget that within Loaded, within that kind of optimism, we always had room for unusual things. The O.J. Simpson story, stories about cults.
The kind of stuff you tell your mates that you've seen in it.
Yeah.
Just to illustrate your point about the kind of the spell he put over his, what do they call them? The Manson
family. Manson family, yeah. And what came afterwards was this kind of extended family, if you like, after they'd all gone to prison.
In Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, there is that brutal scene, or sort of intimated, where Sharon Tate, the actor, actress or whatever, for some reason they focused in on her and they brutally murder her while she's pregnant, and it's completely well.
The reason they did it, the reason that the family did that was because Manson says go out and do something witchy, and what he meant by that was. That go in, commit a murder that's so brutal that it becomes unignorable, then use slogans from the Beatles' White Album. By the way, Helter Skelter, which was his whole theory about how black people would take over the world, and he would take over African Americans and basically rule it. But he said he wanted to inspire this kind of race war.
So why did they pick Sharon Tate?
They picked
wasn't it?
Well, they didn't actually pick her. They went to where they thought Dennis Wilson's producer was living, and they discovered that actually the house was just had been rented by Roman Polanski, who's
right.
the film director Roman Polanski, whose wife was Sharon Tate, who was, I think, 8 or 9 months pregnant at the time.
And he was abroad shooting, wasn't he?
He was abroad shooting.
She just had a party, hadn't she? There was a hairdresser there as well.
Yeah, there was a hairdresser. Her hairdresser was there.
She
there
was an
there was the
aspiring actor.
heiress.
Yeah,
She was.
yeah.
And there was a very famous heiress was there. There was a young guy. I mean, one of the most unfortunate things is just this young guy that was just sitting outside in his car, and the first person that Tex Watson, who was one of the only other male members of the family, just shot him a few times in the face. So there's a young boy, I think he was 17 years old. He was shot several times in the face. They killed, I think, 4 people on that particular night. And the following night, they killed the entire LaBianca family. And then the trial was crazy because the trial was these acolytes.
Just to say, because what that did was it sent shockwaves and fear throughout the whole of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because they thought they were being targeted, all these people in the gated communities and everything else.
Well, actually, this is the weird thing, Bill. This is the really weird thing because when I was living in Hollywood, I interviewed. Sorry, I actually didn't interview her. I spent quite a long time with Raquel Welch, who was a very famous actor back then. I went to one of her parties, and she talked about the effect that it had, right? So Sharon Tate and her at that time were probably the 2 most glamorous women on the planet, right? And she said that there was this 60s thing that happened that if you're having a party, because you wanted to be in touch with everybody, if you were a Hollywood star, anyone was invited in. You like if somebody walked in, like they said, we'd have like street people would come in, and we'd just be. And she goes, after that, everyone started living in the gated communities.
Yeah.
They all gated themselves off, and the Manson murders literally changed the architecture of Los Angeles profoundly.
You know, it's also weird though. They call them the Manson murders. People forget that he actually didn't murder anyone, and he incited it and directed it, and manipulated these people into a position where they would do it for him, but he didn't actually murder anyone.
Yeah. Well, let me read you a quote from one of the women who was, well, obviously
Besotted with him.
besotted and seduced by him. She says, Sharon Tate was a bitch and she deserved to die, says one girl as she tucks into a taco. Charlie is a beautiful man. He is beyond good and evil. I guess
that's John interviewing a woman in 1994, not at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
is an enduring
decades
cult. It
later.
has to be said, it's an enduring cult, right? So you've still got acolytes of Charles Manson now, and in fact, the band Marilyn Manson, he very deliberately picked 2 icons, so Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson, put the names together to kind of create his own persona, Marilyn Manson. The problem with somebody like Manson is, I think part of it was, Pete Townsend, who I wrote a book about The Who, and Pete Townsend said it was definitively what killed the 60s. The Manson murders killed the 60s more effectively than Nixon could have done, than anyone could have done. Because suddenly hippies were not these young... when you look at the photographs of those girls around the Spa Ranch just outside of Los Angeles, and they've all got flowers in their hair, and they all look so young and pretty. You think these are the same people that went out and stabbed a 9-month pregnant woman, and then wrote. Linda Kasabian was one. And by the way, the band Kasabian got their name from that.
They're making the fallout cultural touchstones that bands and other people have. It's kind of not glamorising necessarily, but a lot of people have fed into it and taken out of it, haven't they?
Yeah, completely. And of course, Manson was incredibly inspired, or pretends to be inspired, by the Beatles' White Album. By the way, because this is the only bit of humour we're going to get out of this, the now sadly deceased comedian Sam Kinison, right, does a whole routine about Charles Manson, right? And he says, got it all from the Beatles' White Album. He goes, "You're on acid, Manson. You got the same fucking message from the fucking Monkees. They weren't even a real band." He goes, "Here we come."
Oh, no.
Walking down. He goes, "Can't you hear it? Can you hear it?" That's the only bit of humour we're going to attract. But I think what it says more about Loaded is the fact that Loaded published a piece which became pretty much the trajectory of Jon Ronson's later career. All of the interest that John has now, and all of the books, The Psychopath Test, The Men Who Stare at Goats, so many of his books, right, are all encapsulated in that one piece. cults, right wing, mania, the whole thing.
Have you got one, Bill, that we can right in the mood with?
Well, I was going to say Paul Merson, but then
No.
we don't know. We can't do Paul Merson now. Oh God! Basil Bush.
No. What about Tony Bennett in Atlantic City when Martin Deason went off and spent a couple of days hanging
I've
around
not much
with
on
him?
Tony Bennett, but have you ever been to Atlantic City?
No, I've never been. No.
Right. Been to Vegas.
Isn't it second?
Yeah.
The second to Vegas is like the big.
Yeah,
Gambling.
a
I think
low
Reno's
rent-
second, isn't it?
It's
And
a low rent
Atlantic-
Vegas because it was,
Yeah.
it was intended to be something else.
Yeah.
Isn't that where Donald Trump bankrupted several casinos?
It
in
did.
Atlantic
It did.
City?
Now I can't. This story I have to be careful because it involves a household name who is still current, and a friend of mine who used to manage this person, and this person was desperate to play a big gig in America, and at the last minute, he was able to get him a gig at Trump's casino for whatever reason. And really excited about it, and they were celebrating, got drunk, and they had to fill in the rider for what they wanted for the gig. And if you knew I was talking about, you'd find this was really not what you'd expect. So they wrote down a load of sex toys, they wrote vibrators, lube, condoms, all this kind of thing. Sent it off, emailed it, totally forgot that they'd done that. So when they turned up at Trump's casino, they went into the dressing room and they'd blown up all the Durex into balloons, and they put all the sex dolls and all the rider was complete in every single,
See, a rider, for those who don't know, is like when you play a venue, you're allowed to request certain things from the venue.
Usually drinking.
It's normally drink.
Sandwiches
right?
and-
I mean,
Yeah.
there
Normally
are sandwiches and beer. I mean, there are notorious people. I think I hope I'm right about this, but I think Aerosmith said that they wanted several things of M&Ms, but with
Blue
all
M&Ms.
the blue ones removed. Yeah, right. So some poor bugger has to kind of go through 600 sacks of M&Ms, removing every single blue
And
one.
if it was me, I'd be sucking them and putting them in the bowl.
Yeah.
But that's just me. But so they turn up and all this sex, the whole dressing room was covered in sex stuff. And oh my God, do you remember? Oh Jesus, we sent that. And just that minute, there's a knock on the door. A huge bodyguard turned up and opened the door and he went, "Hi, the Donald wants to see you." And he went, "Oh, okay, well, he's here now, he wants to see you now." No, we're okay, we're absolutely fine. We've just come out. We said Donald Trump, not President of the United States at that stage, just a crap businessman, as he
Yeah,
still is.
very crap businessman. Yeah.
He was about to bankrupt the casino. And he came in, he looked round the room and he saw the blow-up dolls and he saw the condoms on the ceiling and he saw the tin of lube and the huge vibrators and all the other weird fetish gear. And he just went, "I can see we're going to be friends."
Oh my God! Yeah.
It was about that.
Oh dear.
Oh, that's a much nicer way to end.
Yeah.
So this is the end of the show. It's been a pleasure as always. Don't forget, lovely listeners, to subscribe. What's the rest of it, Ben?
Subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification icon. And please do so. And the reason I say that is because we are, at the moment, and I know lots of people say this, but it is important, we are independent media, right? So every single subscription, every single like that we get hugely keeps the show going. We love making the show, but without you guys and without your subscriptions, we can't go much further. So we want you to
I'm going to
subscribe.
subscribe now. That was brilliant.
That was good.
You're going to do
I
it.
said I wouldn't cry. Anyway, keep yourselves nice, everybody. That's been a great show. Thanks so much, guys.